What's up, Miss Hendricks?
What's up?
This is my podcast, Gabe Paques. This is my special guest, Rowan Drews.
Here. I had to make an appearance for this lovely podcast.
And you know what we're talking about today?
What are we talking about?
The Crime Junkie Podcast.
All
right. Talking about the Crime Junkie Podcast. I really enjoy the podcast. They're very interesting people. Like they're great. They're great storytellers. And one of my favorite cases they talked about was the missing child of Casey Woody. She disappeared. She was 13 years old, and she used to always love chatting online. And one day she met this guy named Dave. Dave.
Was he older or younger? Do you know?
So he allegedly says that he was 14 years old.
Oh.
But actually, he was actually a 47-year-old man. So
This is terrible.
yeah.
Disgusting. Dave.
On December 3rd, 2002, Casey just disappears. She got kidnapped.
Did they eventually find her body, or like did she die? Did they find her?
Well, yeah, she ended up getting. She didn't get found, but they found out like days later that she was found in a storage unit.
Oh my gosh. Was she dead or what?
She was dead.
Oh no.
She died, and
Oh no.
supposedly she got abducted by this 47-year-old 47-year-old man named Dave. Quotation marks.
Silly Dave.
So, the forensics evidence that they
tell me about it.
so they use the chat history. That's their main thing. 'Cause they talk online.
Chat history?
The chat history.
Oh my goodness.
So the video calls and how they always talk. Not. I don't think they did the video calls.
Yeah,
but
because then she would have known he was 47, not 14. There's a lying little guy.
a 47-year-old does not look like a 14.
No. I mean, unless he
did something.
Plastic surgery,
maybe a filter on the online thing. But
not too sure.
they also used. It's a lot of digital forensics that was used in this case.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, for sure,
Like they tracked the IP address of Dave because they were looking at online and they couldn't figure out anything. But they used they got onto the account of Casey and they tracked his IP from there and figured out his address.
Interesting.
So yeah, and then the other physical evidence, because you can look everything online, but you need some physical evidence, right?
Of course you do. Of course, yeah.
They found some security footage around a van and around the storage unit. So they found like a van, and they used some forensic analysis. They ended up finding DNA evidence.
DNA.
Yeah, DNA. If you find DNA, it's raps.
It is raps. Yeah.
Dave, the guy's basically caught. Yeah, so can't be leaving DNA if you're gonna do that. But that's not a good idea. So yeah.
Yeah. That's terrible. It's just so sad. It's so sad.
So do you have any questions about this case?
Yeah,
I thought it was a great case.
It's pretty
interesting.
So, since this was in 2002, early internet days, you think if this happened present day, that the outcome would have been different? Maybe she would have been a little bit more smart about her decisions.
Oh, definitely.
You think so?
Because
elaborate. Yeah.
Nowadays, I feel like there's so many ways to get tracked on your phone or whatever device. People can figure out anything at any time. It's kind of scary, but
it could be helpful in this.
Yeah. So these are the main situations they keep all this info like in a database. I don't know how they keep stuff, but your IP address. Now it's so much easier to get people's IP addresses. So it's just the technology has become much better.
Well, I mean, not just that, but do you think that Casey would have been a little less ignorant on the fact that he wasn't a 14-year-old?
Because people, since you were little, a lot of, at least for me, as a 17-year-old man, our parents tell us don't talk to random people online. People tell us.
Maybe her parents didn't tell her that.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It is. Well, I have a couple more questions for you, actually. So, are
they were able to break this down in 2002. Because like 2002, you know, there was just computers. You know, look, there wasn't like these cell phones you could scroll and do all that other stuff on. So this must have been a big case in 2002. So this like digital evidence and finding all this information through online and technology is probably a big step, because this forensics technique wasn't used, let's say, in the 1980s. You know, never had to happen usually, because this is not happening. There's no 47-year-old man trying to meet up with a 13-year-old.
Well, I mean, I think nowadays there's a lot of pedophiles, but I think it's much less frequent.
Yeah.
Because it's harder access for these people, because
people know.
People are knowledgeable about it now. Yeah.
So
they know what they're doing. And also, this makes me think about like all those seeing those people on TikTok who like catch all the predators.
Yeah.
That's what makes me think of.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
you know, it's just it's people trying to catch predators, and they're doing the same thing using this forensics digital like evidence. By they look through the chats and find evidence to show that they wanted it was a threat, or it was not consensual, or something, and they gotta catch these people because they can mess people up. Like Casey died because of this.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm thinking about it, like, I've never heard of this case before, right? But do you think there's other cases like this that maybe made this issue like publicized? You know what I'm saying? Like made it like.
I believe it. I think it's because it's something in that time. It was definitely something people were not used to.
Yeah, something different.
They didn't expect that to happen online.
Nowadays, it's like something that's expected.
Like people say, don't talk to strangers, right? But when you're online, you're not thinking this is all going to happen.
Very dangerous.
So, and to bring it back to the Crime Junkie podcast, you know, what do you
rate this podcast out of 10 if you had to?
Oh, this podcast, I gave it 9. You know,
they're 9.
Great story.
No decimal points, just a flat 9.
Flat 9.
What could they have improved?
I like Ashley. She's great. She like, I don't know. She makes you feel more connected to the case.
Yeah.
And what they're talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and like, for example, just like even this case, you know, they went into they went into this case for a long time in one of the episodes, and she became like, she took it deeply personal, and because she just was worried about the safety of kids online. So,
well, it's good that she's keeping his children safe. You know, making a podcast that highlights the fact that it's an issue, man. Like, it's disgusting that these old men are trying to get rid of these little girls. It's gross.
But yeah, overall, I think that this case, Casey Woody case, was a great. I don't know. How they told this case in their episode was like, it was great. It just had a good balance of talking about the important things about the digital evidence and all the evidence and forensic techniques that they use, and how they just balanced that and making it an important talk and making it feel emotional to connect everything together. And now we'll be talking about the next case. We will have one ad break. Be right back.
This part of the podcast is sponsored by Arnold Palmer Light.
And we're back. You know, we love small Arnold Palmer. Yes,
the best.
Did you see our other special guest, Leah McCormick from Ms. Hendricks' homeroom?
Yeah, I know, that was cheeky, wasn't it?
It was good. Yes, it was.
It was.
All right. Well, get back into it. We're still talking about Crime Junkie. You know, it's great.
Yeah,
lovely podcast.
I mean, personally, I'm enjoying it so far. It seems pretty interesting.
So now,
let's dive deeper.
I'm gonna talk about now the case of murdered Lacey Peterson.
Okay.
You know,
I'm interested already.
Lacey Peterson, right? On Christmas Eve.
Oh.
She was reported missing by Scott Peterson.
So is that her husband, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
I'm already a little bit suspicious about Scott. Okay. Just to let you know.
She was 8 months pregnant.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so if I had to talk about it so far, just based off those facts you gave me, I'd say Scott murdered her because he didn't want to have the child. Because if she's 8 months pregnant, almost at 9 months, he doesn't want to take care of his child, so he just murders both of them.
We'll see. So right, it's on Christmas. It's Christmas Eve 2002, and Scott goes fishing all day, but later figured out that Lacey was missing, right? And after they were missing, he thought they were just dead. Everybody was like, "Oh no, they died. Something happened to them. She's just missing." And then about a year-ish or a couple months later, in April 2003. Lacey and the unborn baby wash up near the spot where Scott was said he was fishing.
That's very suspicious. Very, very
Right.
suspicious.
So
in the months from December to April, she was just a missing person.
yeah.
Okay.
But then her body washed up, right?
Mhm.
Immediately, Scott got blamed for the killing. They blamed him for first-degree murder. He got arrested.
Right.
And now the big question is, do you think he should be arrested for this, right?
Well, I mean, it's hard to arrest him with no evidence, right?
So there's a little bit of evidence just
Okay.
because of the, they use some techniques, but it can't really fully prove it's him. That's what I believe,
Well,
right?
this is what I'm thinking about. So 4 months later, and they were found in water. How did they know that it was Lacey? And like, how did they know that?
They use body identification, right?
So
They look at dental records and they saw the teeth and
Okay, that makes
DNA, and
sense, yeah.
it all matched. So they
Yeah,
knew
that
it was
makes sense.
Lacey and the unborn child, right? So
Did they figure out the cause of death or no?
they did not figure out the cause of death. So
I feel like that would've helped out the case
that's
quite a
what
bit.
makes it even more controversial because
Right,
they didn't even
right.
know the cause of death. So how do they know that
Scott did
Scott did it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
So-
hard to say, isn't it?
we don't know? They used they used GPS and cell phone analysis to check what was going on his phone and the cell tower and see if there was anything that matched up. They also looked at GPS and movements on Scott's movements and see if he did anything suspicious, and they said there was nothing really found, but the body still matched, and it was still in that little area.
Yeah, it's very weird, very strange.
So yeah.
I mean, it could just be a crazy coincidence. Or maybe there was a third-party person who saw him fishing. So they didn't know it was the husband, but they just saw a random guy fishing. So they're like, I'm
And
gonna dump
they
him
might be
in.
getting mixed up with those two.
Yeah, but whoever did this crime was pretty smart about it.
Yeah, because they checked Scott's home, his car that he used to go to fishing, everything, and there was no blood remains or anything. You'd think there'd be some blood remains or something,
Arnold Palmer.
but I guess there wasn't anything actually found, right? They also, they use all these other. There was not that much forensics techniques that were used, but just because it's so controversial,
Right.
what actually happened. It's just everybody. I don't know. Do you think he should have got charged for first-degree murder?
From the facts that I hear, I mean, it seems like he did it. It seems like he's the most likely person to do it because he was fishing or he knows his wife or whatever reasons he had. But I don't think that he should be convicted of that crime without enough evidence. It's
Yeah.
not fair. It's not.
But yeah, that is the case about Lacey Peterson.
Look at that.
And we'll be back for the questions.
All right, we're back. So I got a couple questions for you.
Question
Okay?
time. What time it is? Question
I think it might be question time. Yeah, we might have to check again.
Yeah.
So was this case was it really big in the news, or was it kind of just low level case?
It did gain some national attention.
Did it?
Yeah, it did. It's because looking back at the case, they're a married couple, right?
Yeah.
They're about to have a nice baby. It's Christmas Eve. Sounds like a good life. Nothing's going wrong. They were living in a stable home. They had something going for them.
They did. Yeah.
So it just made everybody confused. Why they actually why did she just out of nowhere go missing and die?
It's very interesting.
That's why the whole suspicion of Scott killing her came up.
Yeah.
So.
Let me think. Yeah, how about this? So before the bodies washed up on the shore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why was Scott like immediately like off the bat? Why was he a suspect? Just because he was like the husband, or?
I think it was just because he was the husband, and it was just he was there fishing, and it was his location where he fishes, and you find the body where
Well, like
he was,
before they found the body, like in the beginning of the case. So like in December when she went missing, or whatever.
Well, okay, so in like different police like investigations and stuff, and talking to him after like they're missing and stuff, he kept giving inconsistent answers, and after she was missing, they figured out that she was dead. He seemed very I don't know how to explain it, but like he was just kind of like grieving because she was just gone, and would just mess with his mind and like I don't know his emotions, but it didn't, I don't know, it did not seem right, which made him lead to believe that like he was just attached to her, like he didn't have a connection with her. And by the way, this is a big factor also, is that he was having an affair with another woman.
Okay, so that's
this woman didn't even know that he was married. They didn't even know. So
yeah, clearly he doesn't want to have this baby.
I guess he just wanted to get out of this.
Yeah, he just wanted to get out of this situation.
This thing, like basically. So.
Yeah, maybe he even went fishing just to get some peace of mind after.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I mean,
or before or after, wherever it was.
I guess they found the remains of the river, so that he must have put in the river. And the fact that they still haven't found it, they never found out the cause of death. in the body.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they're knowing that they don't really know the cause of death. They don't really know much like about the case really. So what was the major forensic technique used?
So it's a difficult question because like there was a lot of different like physical evidence that were found.
I feel like a lot of it is just like inferences. You just gotta infer like kind of what happened.
Yeah, but
just why it's hard to convict.
The main forensic evidence was that the DNA they found of the body identifications, the bodies they found, the DNA confirmed that it was Lacey in the unborn child. And so it just like it had to be, it just kind of matched up. And there was also they also used track dogs to figure out that led the smell of the dead bodies to the boat. There was like there was a smell that connected those two. If that made sense.
So his boat?
Yeah, his boat. That he would have parked at the marina.
Okay, so that's a major thing here. If the smell of the dead bodies was in his boat.
Or there was a smell that was connecting him and Lacey. That makes sense.
So just her scent was in his boat.
Mm-hmm.
So then she could obviously she was in his boat before.
Yeah. So the body had to be there.
Well, it doesn't have to be the dead body. The alive body could have been there.
So it just kind of matches, and
it's just kind of hard to say. This is a very hard case to.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Do you think if like this happened again, we're gonna come back, 2025, this is about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you think that they could have found something else in this evidence?
I mean, I'm not particularly educated on how since 2002. In 20 years, I don't really know how much has forensic techniques have progressed.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there's something somewhere that could have, helped out the case. Surely in 20 years.
Yeah.
Especially the technology we have, definitely. Yeah. I mean, excuse me. But I'm thinking, if they knew the cause of death, if they found the bodies, 2 months earlier, and they maybe could have found the cause of death, then I think that may have told a lot more about the case.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, like, say the cause of death was like a stab wound, right? Then they could have maybe tried to link the knife.
They could have linked at least something.
Something could have been linked. Yeah.
I think also
Or
the
a gun,
water. The water made an effect because when they found the body of the vacation, it's been a couple months, and
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
know how body post-mortem doesn't.
Well, next one's
it makes it
hard
hard.
there. Post-mortem, oh yeah. This guy knows his stuff.
Oh yeah. But all in all, I thought great case, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting
But
case.
it was just kind of it's a little bit different because it's not forensics alone just didn't solve it.
It's kind of an unknown, but honestly, I find it
But
more
it's just
interesting
all
than
the
last one.
circumstances and the places and all that was put in the national attention, what brought media in, and how Scott reacted. Just overall, just made it become a really good case.
Yeah, it's a pretty good case.
Yes, and we will be back. All right. Well, that's the end of the podcast.
And I had a great time doing this podcast with you.
I had a great time too.
We're gonna have to do it again super soon.
We'll do it again.
Make multiple more.